Right, can you say hello?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our day. God, now I'm just ahead. God, my boobs make me look so wide. It's all boobs. I'm telling you, it's all boobs. So, we had post very early this morning, actually.
It was.
And, well, we have a parcel. Now, it says, live plants handled with care. It's only addressed to me. And it says that I'm great on the address. It doesn't. I think they were supposed to put Great Britain or something, but it never actually... The Britain side of it never came with it. It just says great. So, we're going to crack on into it and see what it is and who it's from. If it says who it's from.
Hopefully it will.
I'm quite concerned, though, that it's a live plant, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it alive.
Yeah.
You'll soon find out. I'm also very worried about how... Okay, it's fully covered. Oh. It's the bloody birdseed that I ordered.
Oh, babe. You're so sad now.
That's not a live plant.
No, that seems really stupid. Why put it in a box that says live plant?
That's made me sad.
We might have to look to see if we can buy ourselves some kind of live plant. Well,
That's so depressing.
today's off to a good start.
I mean, who does that? Live plant handled with care. Keep from heat and frost.
You're so sad
Yeah.
now.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, sniff that box though, Mum.
Yeah, they read me. Yeah, well, that was fun.
Yeah, something else it arrived a few days ago actually. I was perusing the internet and there's this person, I'm not quite sure if it's a lady or a man yet, but basically they travel the world and they write a letter, they draw the envelope, the letter paper and make it all pretty themselves, and they make copies of it, and you can sign up to have a letter from I think it's either once a month or something like that, that you can then get it sent from wherever country they are at that time. And it arrived. It's got this on the back. Is it gonna... There. And I've just realised Stove really isn't in this right now, so...
Okay.
No, it's not. Can you check me the back box that I just threw? Plus, the camera's getting lower and lower to my bosoms.
I'll let you out and I'll come and sit over here. So my head's over here. And there's some...
Boom. No longer at me boobs. And it's really, really cute because obviously we...
Like letters. Can't travel.
You can sign up.
I don't know what the rest of that sentence was going to be.
And we've got it wrote to the Hockaday Williams family. How cute is that? So it was actually really cheap as well. I think it worked out at like £4 a month or something. And in our minds was, it's a really cool letter. It's from some part in the world that we know that we're never going to be able to travel to. You get a really cool stamp, and it's Happy Mail. Everybody loves Happy Mail.
Yeah.
So let's see what our first letter holds. I've got a bit of a headache. A bit of a pressure in my head. I wonder if it's because of the weather.
Could be. It's certainly not like it was, but...
And as I'm opening this,
Also, they feel
I
like
would-
birdseed.
I would just like to say that our country offends me right now. There's protests and riots going on in London of people complaining, saying their human rights are being taken away now about the pandemic stuff, and they're like protesting about their human rights now, when surely they should have been protesting whilst we're on full lockdown, not while we're allowed out currently. And also they're saying that they don't want, like, the virus was a fake, and they don't want tests and vaccines and stuff like that. It's like, nobody's forcing you to get a test. Nobody's forcing you to have a vaccine.
And in one of the videos, there was a lot of police and stuff, and I'm disappointed that this country hasn't provided PPE for the police that are having to be in those situations.
Yeah. There was thousands and thousands of people, and we're just waiting for the cases to now
Yeah.
shoot back up again. All because of
It'll
these
happen.
twats who say there isn't a virus, and yet many of them are wearing face masks. Well, if you don't believe that there's a virus, why are you protecting yourself? Why take that mask that could go to somebody who has a few brain cells and is trying to protect themselves and can't, like the police force? But never mind. Oh my god, there's loose stamps in here.
Did you forget that?
No, because when she said about it, she said that she was going to put in, the stamps were on the envelope, not loose stamps inside.
I thought it said that there was.
No. So we have one stamp here from Germany. And then we have a second stamp here from Helvetia. I can't ever remember how to say that. I have got a folder for this country. Whoa, boom. So pretty.
It's yours. You can have it. It's your ice cream.
It's yours.
Am I allowed it? Thank you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is wow. Wow. Oh, it was a bit too in my face. Wow, is that your ice cream?
Your turn, man.
Wow. What am I supposed to do with it?
Play with
Yeah, but
me.
you've got it in your face.
Hi. Little Miss Brown Nose still digging in the garden. What?
In the garden, man? Was that permission?
No. To the additional holes we are receiving in our garden.
We're just helping you, son.
Oh, there's two. So, is there a first and a second, or just... So, it is a girl or woman. Here's the first letter. And like I said, she draws, paints, colours, all herself. And then she photocopies it. So the first one says, Isle of Skye, Scotland. And then it's got something in Scottish that means good evening. And And it says, "Ahoy! On this lovely evening I write to you from a land I've always wished to see for myself. A place where traditions run as old as time, where sweeping vistas lead to cliffs that greet the sea, where legends are aplenty and mysteries lie around every corner. I'm pleased to say this letter is being written from the Scottish Highlands. I have arrived at the Isle of Skye. This island off the northwest coast of Scotland is a paradise of rolling green hills, ancient castles, and some very unusual sporting events that have taken place for almost 1,000 years. Let me tell you all about my Scottish adventures this far. It all started when my ship docked at a charming little village called Portree. This old town, with its crooked cottages and stone streets, is the largest on the island and home to many a fisherman. As I arrived and started exploring a bit, I got the sense that a festival was soon to take place. Sure enough, the innkeeper excitedly told me about the Highland Games, a traditional celebration of sports and camaraderie that hundreds gathered to see. It seems that I arrived just in time, as they were set to begin in just 3 days. Before the festivities, however, I decided to go out and explore the great Isle of Skye, starting with a visit to the fairy pools. After a quick hike across the green grassy terrain, I arrived at a series of lovely waterfalls cascading into crystal clear emerald-coloured pools. The water was so clear I could see it all the way to the bottom. At one pool I was lucky enough to see a family of otters lazily floating about and playing. The next stop on my expedition was to visit the ancient Dunvegan Castle. This looming fortress overlooking a loch is one of the oldest inhabited castles in all of Scotland. It's home to the Clan MacLeod? No idea. And they've lived there for over 800 years. As clouds and fog started to roll across the land, I made my way to visit the Old Man of Store. Not an actual old man, but a giant craggy old rock formation jutting into the sky near the sea. It was a grand sight to behold, quite unlike anything I've seen before. I wonder why it's named as such, though. I suppose if I turn my head to the side, it sort of looks like the face of an old man. What do you think? I'm not quite sure if she's got it on here. Hang on, I need to move my legs. Now, where did I get to? I very much enjoyed my journey back to Portree, soaking up the majestic views that make this land so special. There's a certain feeling when exploring this land. It's like the centuries of history, myths and legends and tales are with me. I can feel how old this place is. Back in the lively seaside village, I returned back to my inn and then ventured to a nearby field where others were starting to gather. At that point, my goodness, did the party begin. Men in plaid kilts loudly played their bagpipes, while women and children hopped onto a wooden stage and began their traditional Highland dancing. Music filled the air and everybody was in such good spirits. Before long, the cabritossing, not sure, and shot put began, and great strong gentlemen competed to see who could throw logs and stones the farthest. With giant grunts and heaves, some were able to throw entire trees across the field. As my adventure came to a close, the innkeeper served me a large steaming plate of haggis and mashed potatoes. Enjoy, lassie, just don't ask what's in it. he said with a grin. I was so famished from the day's excitement, I ate every bite. It was delicious. Tomorrow I'll hop back on the ship and head full steam ahead for a new place to explore. Until my next letter, Isabel. And then she's got down here, I spotted 7 otters on the fairy pools. Can you find them all? That's cool that she's...
Yeah.
I did wonder why there was like an otter in the sky.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Well, I found 3 so far.
I can't even see one.
But yeah, that's quite cute
Yeah.
for that one.
We're gonna have to folder this stuff, aren't we?
Yeah. Do you wanna... I don't know. And then the next one... Santorini, Greece. And then it says Yasu, which is hello. On this fine evening, halfway around the world, I write to you from a whitewashed terrace overlooking the most spectacular sunset I've seen in all my travels. The sky is on fire with the brightest of pinks and reds and oranges. It almost looks like a painting, which is a fitting end to this particular adventure. I have arrived in Santorini. Let me tell you all about my journey this far. It all started when I was sitting at the docks near Athens, the capital city of Greece. The sun was blazing hot and the cool sea breeze was calling my name. I'd heard rumours from the locals of a tiny island off the coast shaped like a crooked crescent moon called Santorini. Supposedly the island's famous sunsets are met with a round of applause on a nightly basis. I decided I must see this for myself. A ferry was pulling out of the dock and I hopped on just in time. After a smooth ride over the clear waters of the Aegean Sea,
I don't know.
I arrived at the southern tip of the island. I soon found a walking path heading north, and I decided there was no better time to hit the trail and start exploring. I came across a woman peddling donkey rides. She warned me of the steep trail ahead, and I bartered a handful of drachma, coins, for her finest steed, an old donkey who looked a bit worse for wear. The sun was sweltering and I felt bad for the old chap, so I decided on simply walking next to him instead of riding him, just grateful for the silent company. He seemed to appreciate it too. That's kind of cute. Onward we trekked, enjoying the red cliffside views and warm sea air. Dusk began to fall and we came across a campsite. There were tables strewn with artifacts and maps, and tents were set up over some crumbling ruins. People buzzed about everywhere, and they seemed quite excited about something. I asked the passing gentleman what all the commotion was about, and he told me all about their discovery of an ancient lost city called Akrotiri. Thousands of years ago, a volcano erupted and buried the ancient city in ash. The volcanic ash preserved the town, and it was recently uncovered by a group of archaeologists. Can you imagine the excitement of discovering an entire buried town with what one might learn? That has got to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
A group was kind enough to take me down into the ruins. I held my lantern out in front of me and turned a corner to find an entire wall covered in colourful ancient artwork. The archaeologists told me it was called a fresco, and they believed it to be over 3,000 years old. I sat and stared at the beautiful work of art for many minutes. It showed villagers in a boat surrounded by the island cliffs. There were animals on land and dolphins in the water. I wondered what the artist was trying to say. I wondered if she knew we would be admiring her masterpiece thousands of years later. The next day, the donkey and I hiked the rest of the island and eventually arrived at a small village called Oia. It's OIA, whatever that is. It was remarkable. There were dozens of white buildings piled high on a cliffside overlooking the sea. The domed rooftops were a bright blue, and tiny passageways zigzagged through the town all the way to the water. I've never seen anything like it. I found a small inn built into a cave and settled for the night. My donkey enjoyed munching on a heap of hay outside while I indulged in a traditional dinner. Fresh fish and capers, bread with a tangy white eggplant dip, and a Santorini salad made with chunks of cilantro. Chloratiri. No idea what that is either. A sour creamy goat's cheese. That's what that is. The feast was fresh and scrumptious, and I finished the evening by listening to a group of musicians play their bouzoukis. Their melody was quick-paced and joyous and seemed to tell a story, just like that fresco painting, all about the lives of the Santorini islanders. As the last of the sunset colours faded away, I indeed joined the crowd for a round of applause. Tomorrow I'll explore more of the island. Then it's back onto the ferry for another adventure. Where to? I suppose you'll find out when I write it to you next. And then it's got addio, which is farewell. And then down here, it says, donkeys have been on the island for centuries. They played a large part in building the villages, and at one point, there were more donkeys than men. And then down here it says, can you find all 10 hidden dolphins? So that's quite cool that they've done that there as well.
I know there's quite a few by the map piece on the back.
I found 8 so far.
Well, so far I've found 5, so you're better than me.
But yeah, this is then what this one looks like. I mean, that's pretty awesome for £4.
It's stunning. I would have expected just one.
Yeah, I mean, she might do just one whenever, but because obviously we were, this is our first lot, and I'm wondering if it might be because obviously the world's in lockdown. But that is awesome. So I'll put the link in the description for this little letters from around the world. And what did we talk about before?
It was just the plan.
Was it? Cool. So yeah, I'll just put this in the link in the description where you can go and have a peruse at her website and see if it's something that you might want to do, because the detail and the effort that's gone into it is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, you're right, I think we're gonna have to folder these up and
Yeah. And we're gonna have to put stamps with the letters as well.
the stamps don't really correlate to the letters because they're not Greek or Scottish stamps. That's the only
True.
thing.
That is true. But then do you put them with it because that's what we received at the same time?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We will have a think.
We will.
But that is pretty much all we're doing for today. So thanks for calling us, Davis. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, everyone!
Good night.